there are, you know what? This is what the players don't get. You're already in a PR disaster right now.
Because now we know how much you need us. We see the valuations between all the teams and all the things and the expansion fees, and it's like,
it sucks because it's like how our negotiation, all that, how that's going. It's like we're the laughing stock of sports right now.
I don't think that.
No, there's a lot of money behind this, so like, don't forget to pay us too.
Yeah, you're losing ground with fans now.
Sophie Cunningham did not need to raise her voice. Her expression said enough. When a player says the league is the laughingstock of sports right now, that is not a headline meant for attention. It is frustration coming through clearly. The kind that cannot be staged, because she understands how closely this is being watched by fans, sponsors, and every other league waiting to see whether the WNBA can protect its momentum or let it slip away. That is why this moment matters more than any vague, talks or ongoing music statement. The league has entered a new phase, where players are no longer only venting behind closed doors. They are signaling, publicly and directly, that missed games are now a real possibility.
Y'all are prepared not to play this season? I know you want to, but would you say you're prepared not to play?
We've approved the strike authorization vote, which means that we're able to formally lock out whenever we want because we have majority of the players' votes behind us. I think that for me personally, like the closer it gets to WNBA season, we're prepared to do it, to not play, but we don't want to. We want to play because we know how important it is to be on the court for a number of reasons, for the people, for the fans, for the city. But it'll be something that's really tough if push comes to shove.
Not as a rumor, not as an insider leak, but as an open warning that the labor fight is larger than public relations. The union already set the stage when it passed a strike authorization vote back in February 2025. That vote did not end the season, but it changed the balance of power. It told ownership the players are prepared to act if negotiations stall, and it told fans this is not a threat designed for social media. When leadership is given the authority to stop work, it means that option is truly on the table. Then Breanna Stewart says what many have been avoiding. The divide is not about whether a strike is justified. The divide is about who can afford one. A small group of stars can withstand months without pay. Most players cannot. That is the pressure point that makes everything unstable because unity sounds strong until rent and bills arrive on time. That is where the tension becomes real. Reports of disagreement within the players' own leadership are not shocking, they are unavoidable. Some want to push for the highest number possible and never hesitate. Others are looking at the calendar, doing the math, and realizing that a missed paycheck is not symbolic when it represents their entire income. This is the reality Stewart put on the table. And once that reality is public, both sides begin operating differently. A WNBA player outside the top tier cannot simply absorb a lost season. Overseas contracts do not begin until the fall. Endorsements for much of the roster are limited and often do not exist. So if a strike begins in May, that means a long stretch without meaningful income until music, October at the earliest. That is the reality the public keeps returning to, while union leadership repeats, we're prepared to do whatever it takes.
This week,
And
negotiations are in process
to get things moving.
in hopes of getting it moving because it has not been moving at all. Both sides are kind of getting, frustrated, but I know us players are holding our ground, so it should be interesting. At the end of the day, depending on where these negotiations go, like if you give these players what they want, you're going to get all the best players. Therefore, you're going to win. Therefore, your ticket sales are going to be up. Everything's going to be up.
But that's what these negotiations are, is finding where that middle is. Yeah.
It sucks because it's like how our negotiation, all that, how that's going. It's like we're the laughing stock.
That statement is meant to project strength, but to many people it comes across as reckless, especially when it is said by players who would feel the impact the least. The optics become worse when the message does not align with the financial math. Listen to how Sophie frames the negotiation. Music, her argument is simple. Paying more attracts better talent. Better talent leads to winning. Winning increases ticket sales, and ticket sales justify the investment. Music in a mature and consistently profitable league, that logic sounds reasonable. In the WNBA, it lands differently, because many fans believe the league is still building its revenue base, music not operating with a large financial surplus. That is why the history matters. The WNBA has faced long periods where profitability was questioned, and its relationship with the NBA has always been part of that discussion. So when fans hear about proposals that would sharply raise average salaries over several years and open the door to multi-million-dollar top-end contracts, music, They do not automatically react with anger toward ownership. Many respond with disbelief that it is still being described as insufficient. From the outside, it already looks like a massive leap for players who were earning mid-five-figure salaries not long ago. A move towards six figures and beyond feels life-changing. But the public is not hearing "we're negotiating details." They are hearing "we're ready to shut it down."
But I know, like, personally as WNBA players, it's like, well, we've signed however many CBA deals before, and we just don't want to get gypped. We don't want to feel like we're signing something and we're actually getting, like, screwed, because now we know how much you need us. We see the valuations between all the teams and all the things and the expansion fees, and it's like, no, there's a lot of money behind this, so, like, don't forget to pay us too.
Are you sure you don't want a policy against weed? Are you sure about that?
They are also hearing comparisons to a men's league that generates billions each year, while the WNBA operates in a very different financial tier. Music, whether that comparison is fair or not, it is a losing argument with casual fans, because it makes the demands feel disconnected from the league's current economic reality. The most revealing line in all of this comes from Breanna Stewart saying she does not want to sign something music, and later realize they were taken advantage of now that they understand how much the league needs them. That phrasing is important. Music, this is no longer only about salary figures. It is about leverage and the belief that the balance of power has finally shifted. You can understand why they feel that way. They watched Caitlin Clark turn road games into sellouts. They saw television ratings surge when Indiana played. They noticed that many of the most watched games of 2024 featured the Fever, and they connected the dots. In their music view, that surge was not just a bonus. It was proof the league has a new driving force. And because of that, they believe players should negotiate as if they are no longer asking music, but claiming what they are owed. The difficult part, rarely said out loud, music, is that the league does not rely on all 144 players in the same way. Professional sports has always been a top-heavy system. Music, a small group drives attention, ticket sales, and media value. A second tier supports the product music, and everyone else competes for a smaller share of stability. That is not a judgment. It is how a star-driven business functions. So when music, Stewart points to rising team valuations and expansion fees as proof that ownership can pay more. Music, she is pointing to figures based on future expectations, not guaranteed cash on hand. Music, expansion fees and valuations reflect what investors believe the league can become, assuming momentum holds, assuming casual fans stay engaged, and assuming stars continue to draw attention. That is the risk. If a season is lost or heavily disrupted, momentum does not simply pause. It can collapse. Casual fans do not always return on demand. And the most concerning part for the league is that the projections being celebrated are built on the assumption that this wave continues. If the wave breaks, those forward-looking numbers begin to lose meaning. This is where the situation becomes even more complex. Sophie Cunningham turns her focus toward Commissioner Kathy Engelbert, suggesting the league should be more active on social media, that she could still appear on platforms and say she believes in the product and supports the product. On the surface, that sounds reasonable. If you lead the league, you should sound invested in it. But consider what that request truly means in this moment.